Namaskar. Hello friends. Today I am taking up another very profound concept in spirituality, namely detachment. Feeling of oneness helps detachment. There are the following main aspects of attachment, which is called raga in Sanskrit, or aversion, which is dvesha, that we feel towards other objects and beings. One is a perception of separateness between I, between I and others. Second is a mental conditioning that others can give me pain or pleasure. And the third is conditioned ideas of what is good or bad for myself and my loved ones. So, how can attachment be reduced? If there is no feeling of separateness, that is, if we have a feeling of oneness with the entire creation, then there is nothing to attach to. So, inculcate a firm mental formation that everything in this creation is simply a manifestation of the one principle, namely Brahman. Discard the conditioning that others give me pain or pleasure. Tell yourself that pain and pleasure are my own internal phenomena and they are not caused by the external world. Tell yourself that there is the same one principle in everyone, myself as well as my loved ones. Tell yourself that this fundamental principle knows what it wants to experience in this creation, and accordingly it manifests itself differently in different beings and objects. So it follows that there is no need to be judgmental about what is good and what is bad for myself or for my loved ones. Be firm in your mind that everything the way it exists, every single moment, perfectly fits into the plan of the one universal principle that is underlying the entire creation. Let vairaagya, that is detachment, arise naturally from within. Vairagya may be desired, but it should not be attempted. What I mean is that one should not forcibly keep away from the worldly life or desires. It is said that such forcing the mind is usually counterproductive. In fact, vairagya does not mean leaving the world and one's family and going into forest. It is said that if one does such a thing just to attain vairagya, it may not achieve any purpose if one's mind continues to think of the family and the world. Vairagya is a mental state which is lack of interest in the world rather than where one is living and what one is doing. I might tend to agree that a detached attitude would get established by divine grace rather than by one's efforts. Modern day detachment for young people. Young people generally have to live a normal life and enjoy it. Nevertheless, detachment can be relevant to them too. Here is how. Young people can go ahead and enjoy the pleasures of life, but with a firm resolve that they will do so in a scrupulously honest way without causing harm to others. They will do well to keep in mind that it is not necessary to experience each and everything that seems attractive and pleasurable. The attitude should be of sampling rather than being voracious. Comparisons with others around should be avoided like a plague. A background thinking should be cultivated that the enjoyment of life is for the purpose of God dwelling inside us rather than for our conditioned mind. Modern day detachment for older people post retirement. Detachment in modern times need not mean physically leaving everything and going to Himalayas. The essence of detachment is disinterest in the physical world of objects. So it is primarily concerned with how our mind looks at the physical world and not what we do in the world. If we go on the above fundamental principle, we may be able to say that one may continue living at home with his family and among friends and relatives and yet have detached attitude so long as one is not mentally attached to anything that happens around him or her. The modern day detachment should mean personally not desiring anything in the world of objects. Although one may seem to be partaking the so-called worldly pleasures from time to time. But this should be happening simply as an act of fitting the situation around you rather than being the driver of it yourself. We should avoid taking vested interest in the lives of our children or our grandchildren and even community, country, humanity. Although we may do our bit to help them around when they need it. The right attitude is one of leaving the fate of this world and everything in it to the Creator. We should not expect anything at all from others around us. We should keep our requirements to the barest minimum so that we can be as independent as possible. We should not seek to extend our life for its own sake. So we can avoid, for example, expensive surgeries like bypass that will burden our near and dear ones. Excuse me. Overall, our attitude should be one of letting the Creator guide our remaining life rather than having our own preferences. Do your duty and not be attached. Everyone comes into this world with a certain role, and performing that role in God consciousness is one's spiritual duty. So, the definition of duty should not be on the basis of any kind of universal definitions, but rather as per one's situation, assist in a balanced manner, without undue attachment to anything or anyone. For example, there is no point in defining one's duty as providing a house for each one of one's sons just because many people around seem to have done so. A balanced assessment in this regard may lead to a more correct definition of duty as educating the sons and putting them on their own feet. That's all. Even marrying off one's sons need not be a duty. This can be left to the sons to decide. One can help as need be, of course. I would have liked to say the same thing about getting daughters married, but I am slightly unsure about it, given the kind of society we still have. I wish the society changes enough to treat all alike without discrimination on any basis. The key aspect while defining duty is to realize and be conscious that nobody is indispensable and that world will go on even without me. Also, being non-judgmental, not getting unduly entangled in certain fixed definitions of good, bad, desirable, undesirable, helps one define a reasonable and a minimum set of essential duties and finish them well in time so that true vairaagya settles in. Then one will be free to pursue spiritual goal in a focused manner. When we want to close the flap of an envelope, we apply gum only on the flap and not on the envelope body. The glue on only one surface out of the two is good enough to hold the flap in place after closing and pressing it on the envelope body. If, however, you apply glue to both the surfaces, they will stick together much better. For example, when a carpenter sticks a laminate sheet on the tabletop, he applies the glue on both the laminate as well as the tabletop and then presses them together for a much stronger bond. Let us consider bonding between two human beings, say a mother and her son. A sense of duty felt by the mother to her son is like the glue applied on one surface. It causes the mother to remain bonded with her son so long as that sense of duty continues. But more often than not, there is something more between a mother and her son. For example, the mother typically has a vision of how her son's life should be, what good he should get in life, and what bad things he should be kept away from. This is true not only when the son is still growing up, but it also continues all through so long as the mother is alive. Also, a mother expects that her son should reciprocate what all the mother did for him when he was growing up. This additional factor, which we may call attachment, is like the glue applied to the second surface too, in addition to the sense of duty, which is the glue applied on one surface. In that case, the bonding is much stronger and tends to last throughout the life of the mother. Most mothers who are not truly spiritually inclined fall in this category, and they find it difficult to let go of their son because of the attachment, even though it may be better for the son. On the contrary, when the son grows and becomes independent, a spiritually inclined mother feels that she has completed her duty. Then the bonding may disappear because usually the son would be moving on with his own life. But such a mother does not feel any loss because she has no attachment to her son now. She also has no expectations from her son because she believes she has lived her life and performed her duties, and so she surrenders her life to the Almighty and does not depend on her son. If one takes such an approach, it is possible to finish one's duties early enough and pursue spirituality. Spiritual journey is return journey. We go on a hitchhike or a picnic. When we set out, we go on stopping at various interesting points and go on enjoying the whole onward journey. However, after reaching a particular point or after a certain prefixed time, we have to reverse our direction and return home. On this return journey, we do not savour the journey like we savoured the onward journey. We retrace our path back towards home with the intention of reaching home as early as possible. We again come across the same locations that we had found interesting during our onward journey, and had enjoyed them. However, on return journey, these spots do not attract us as much, nor do we spend time there again. Human life is akin to the above scenario of a picnic or a hitchhike. For the initial part of our life, we may enjoy many things this world has on offer. However, we must bear in mind that we have to reverse and return home at some stage. That return journey is the spiritual pursuit. Obviously, the return journey will take some time, and along the way, we will come across the same things that had enticed us in our onward journey. But they should no longer entice us on the return journey. We should simply keep passing them without taking any interest. In the earlier part of life, we enjoyed and even actively sought sense and ego pleasures while avoiding the pains on account of them. However, in the later part of life, we should not feel a similar attachment to our grandchildren. In the earlier part of life, we enjoyed the pains and pleasures of bringing up children, but no more. In the earlier part of life, we were attached to life and wanted to live as long as possible. In the later part, we should not have any attachment to living long. That is vairaagya bhav, detachment. Turn around if you want to understand creation. When a kid sees a movie for the first time, his curiosity may take him closer to the screen or even behind the screen to find out how that movie is appearing on the screen. But with this approach, he cannot figure out how the movie appears on the screen. To really satisfy his curiosity, the kid will have to turn around, and then he will notice that there is a projector from which some light is coming and falling on the screen. Then if he goes to the projection room and asks the projector operator, the latter will explain to him the concept of photographic film and how the dark and light areas on the film allow different intensity of light to pass through, creating the play of light and shadow on the screen. The operator will also tell the kid how a movie is shot on the reels of film by using a camera. Then he understands what the movie really is. The approach of science to understanding creation is akin to the kid above looking at the screen and going behind it to understand the phenomenon of movie. It is oriented in a wrong direction, which makes it keep researching the perceived physical world of objects. The Large Hadron Collider project is an instance of it. The scientists are smashing the particles together and hoping to find the smallest particle that they would be able to believe as the God particle or the beginning of the physical world. But that is akin to the kid researching the movie screen or going behind it to understand the phenomenon of movie. To understand the phenomenon of creation, one has to turn around, away from the creation, towards the creator. That is detachment. Then the seeker has to approach a guru and ask for his grace so that he can get the knowledge that he is seeking. I will stop here today and see you the next time. Until then, bye, take care.